And welcome to Tame Your Talent, your Tuesday edition. Brad J. with you right here. Good to be hanging out with you as usual with my daily podcast on Tame Your Talent. Changed the logo a little bit yesterday, so hopefully that didn't catch you by surprise. I don't know how a lot of people all listen to this because I guess there's a few different ways. You can get it in iTunes. You can also get it on Stitcher. You can get it on SoundCloud. So I don't know, but it's cool to have you on board, no matter where you're getting Tame Your Talent from. My name is Brad J, 20-plus year action sports veteran announcer who's done pretty much it all. 6 Olympics, over 40 some odd different X Games, a whole bunch of different stuff, man. And I continue to do that, and it's been awesome. I've been able to live my life, travel the world, and travel's been the best part about being a professional announcer is traveling, getting to travel to places and have somebody else pay for it, and then enjoy what you do. That's been one of the things for me. Is first off, I love announcing, I love competition, whatever it is. So to be able to be flown to a place, put up in a hotel, and not have to pay for either of those two, then get paid to do the event, and then have some off time at that awesome location. That's what's cool about being an announcer. You can follow me, Tame Your Talent Facebook page. There's a Facebook page, there's a group page. I started getting confused on them. I've been making headings and working on all that stuff just to make it all good. And the YouTube page, subscribe on the YouTube page, and also on the Tame Your Talent YouTube page. If you click the link in the bio, my first ever ebook. Yeah. They grow up so fast, man. First ever. All right, here's the deal. It's the ebook. It's if you click the link in the bio on my YouTube Tame Your Talent page. I know it's a lot to remember, especially for me. It takes me a lot to kind of process things. But Tame Your Talent on YouTube. Go to it. Click on the link right there in the heading, and that'll take you to my first ever ebook. What's the ebook about? You may ask. Go ahead, ask it. I'm glad you asked that. That's a very good question. The ebook is about basically kind of like broad brushstrokes of my life, of going from like no direction for what I want to do, finally getting a direction, finally getting the big break, and then working hard to become, top of the game and get all the jobs and have a good time while doing it. So it's a pretty good story. About just kind of that. I've been working on the full-length book, which is a lot bigger, but this is a good book with pictures and the whole stuff. It's a nice ebook. It's called The Ninth Caller, and it's my first ever ebook. And you could click on the link, Tame Your Talent, on my YouTube page. While you're there, subscribe as well, because that's cool. All right. Before we get into the show, today's show is no guarantees. Oh, I got a good one for you. This one really makes you think, okay, and something I had to go through and endure. But before I get to no guarantees, I want to say happy birthday to Lou Ferrigno. Lou Ferrigno, the Hulk, okay? Now, some of you younger kids out there maybe don't realize he was the original Hulk that was on the TV series back in, I think, 70s and 80s. He was on there, and he would play the Hulk. So he is the original TV Hulk. Lou Ferrigno turned 70 years old. Happy birthday, the Hulk. Okay, let's get right into it. No guarantees. Man, this was a tough one to go through. This one hurt, man. And I didn't even know what show I was going to talk about on the show today. I mean, yesterday, of course, was a great show talking about all the things that I've had to endure as a professional announcer. And freelancing's not free. You got to make decisions. Sometimes you got to put your big boy or big girl pants on, and you got to make a decision. Is it this job or is it this job? And then sometimes you got to look at the backstory from those. Well, would this job lead to more? You don't want to just do that. There's no guarantees. There's no guarantees on whatever you take. There's no guarantee that a job that I've done one year that I get that job back the next year. In fact, I've done jobs. In fact, okay, here's one. I did a job, the Shaun White Aaron Style. So this is where they set up a big snowboarding scaffolding jump, and they did it in downtown Los Angeles and Pasadena. So it's a big snowboarding jump, but it's in the middle of LA. So it's just crazy that it's the setup the way it is. Okay. So I go and agree to do this. TV too. I think it was for ABC television at the time. So I agreed to do this from a person who hired me to do the event, which shall remain nameless, and hires me to do the event. I said, look, I'm going to do it for a lower price for you. I shouldn't, but I will because I'm local enough to the area. I can get to Los Angeles. No, not that far at all. So, okay, I'll do it, but I'm going to give you a really good deal because I expect to have it next year. No problem. The person who hired me said, yeah, no problem. We got you. You'll be in next year. Next year rolls around, and I got the snub. And not that I did a bad job. I mean, at least that's what I thought. But I got the snub. And that one hurt. I had to actually bring it up to that person. And I don't like to have to do that. But I had to bring it up and just basically said, look, I honored it last year by doing it for way less for a major network for ABC television. And I did it for just a price that was ridiculous. And I did that with the thought that I'm going to get in because you said I'd be in the next year, and then I'm not. Same person had the same decision, and I'm not in. So that's where it just got dicey. That one hurt. And I had to make the phone call. And said, hey, that's really not fair. I wouldn't have done it for what I did it for if I didn't think there was an option. If it was just a one-off thing where this is be the only time I'm going to get it and there's no guarantee for next year, because there is no guarantee when you're a freelancer like that. So I kind of took it as a guarantee, for the cheaper price, and then got burned in the end, didn't get it the next year. So that's what I mean by no guarantees on that one. Now, this is a tough one because this took up a lot of my life. This event that I want to talk about, I did for, I think, 10 years. 10 years I did this event, and then all of a sudden one day, you're gone. For no reason. Not a reason like, oh, you did this, or you trashed a hotel room, you threw a TV in the pool or something like that, because I don't do that. Maybe in the younger days I might have, but I'm not going to do that. So I'm doing this major event for 10 years, and it's in the summer. The same time, basically from June through August, you do it through the whole summer months. And I do this event, and I would do it in various locations in the U.S., not in the U.S., in Canada and Europe and New Zealand and what have you. Excuse me. And so I was loving that job. And about 5 years probably into it, I had a chance to not continue on with it and move in a different direction. And there was part of me at that point was telling me that I really should probably do this. I should move in a different direction. So there's something like nagging inside of me saying, do this. Like, okay, you've done 5 years. That's great. It's time to go, because you don't want to be removed or have to end something on a bad note. And so I went against my thoughts, and I went, you know what, just write it out. It's a great job. You're digging it. It's awesome. And so that went on another 5 years. So I finished up this event in 10 years. And when this event started out, picture this. When the event started out, there was no webcast. There was no television to it. It was just in one spot, one location for 2 weeks. And that was it. And just a dusty location up at Whistler in British Columbia on the mountain in the summertime. And so this event would just go on, and that's it. And so each year after I got in there, it started becoming a little bit more popular and popular because we worked towards making a better show, hired in production people and hired in people to create a television product, which was a webcast product. And it just slowly built, and it built over time. And, I had something to do with it because I was there at the beginning stages, and I worked there for a decade, 10 years doing this event, right? Continuing. And the event became more popular. And the next thing you know, we're webcasting all these days. We went from not webcasting one single day at all to within a few years, webcasting like every single competition that we did on the mountain bikes on free riding was webcasted. So it was just crazy on how much we went from nothing all the way to just maximizing this thing. And 5 years into it, halfway into this, when it's just going at its best, I had a chance to get out, and I didn't. I stayed in, and I thought about getting out, and just because for me, I never really wanted to be too super comfortable staying in that one gig when you're a freelancer, because that's one person controlling your funds, your money, your income. And so if they fire you, or you're done, or you're released, or they go in a different direction, whatever the case may be, and one person's controlling that, you don't make that hurts. And for this business, I was pretty much cashing in, because now it turned into one event a year to 3 and 4 events a year all over the place. So I was traveling to Europe, traveling here, traveling there, and it became a huge part of my income for what I was doing, and this is like height of, what as far as my announcing career is going, like getting the best work and all this. But when you commit to something over a long period of time, especially as an announcer, that doesn't free you up to be able to do more events when something does come up. So sometimes you got to trust the process and hope that jobs come to you. And it always seems like, for the over 20 years I've been doing this, like when you need it, it seems like you get that job and it comes in and everything's great and it works out good. But this situation, I probably should have got out, didn't get out. And then 1 year, how's this? 1 year has passed. After 5 years had passed since I thought about getting out. And then all of a sudden, going into the next season, but 5 events on the board, or 4 events, or whatever it was, let go. Let go, fired. Not fired, but let go. No returning phone call, no guarantee. And the guy who ran the whole thing, not even a phone call. So not even a phone call, not even an email from a guy. So you think to yourself, and you can't take it personal. You think you put your blood, sweat, and tears into something for 10 years to help it go from, just barely an event to like massive international event. And you think you get a little recognition. Not that you need the recognition, but hey, even a phone call or an email saying, you know what, we appreciate the 10 years, we're going a different direction. I get that, because everyone's replaceable when it comes down to it, especially as a professional announcer. People go in different directions all the time. I've been told that before, but when that gate shuts, another one opens. So not even getting the phone call, that was painful. And so here's where that kind of goes and backfires in my face, because of the no guarantees. Because since I didn't have the guarantee and I didn't prepare in the off season going into the next season, I wasn't ready for it. So all of a sudden I didn't have a gig. All of a sudden, and the production company was the company that let me know. It wasn't the owners who I'd worked side by side forever. They didn't let me know. They didn't say nothing to me. And so you're bummed at that point. I was hurt. 10 years, man. And then you just let go like 2 months before it starts. And so, wow, I didn't have much going on. So what did Brad J do? Well, I actually I hate to say it, but I had to go Uber. I actually signed up with the car, and I had a 2007 Lincoln Navigator, all black, really nice one looking. So I was able to sign up on Uber XL, and because I wasn't prepared. If I was prepared, that would not have happened to me at all. If I would have pulled out the 5 years that I wanted to and continued doing other summer events, then that would have been the greatest thing for me to do ever. But I didn't do that. And then there you go. So that ends up punishing me. So I end up being an Uber driver in Santa Barbara. And I learned a lot. I like to talk, so it wasn't such a bad job to be an Uber, but you get some rude people too as well. But it was nice kind of having the XL, the all black one, because I would take like women to the wineries and stuff like that. So I'd get some pretty good clientele. You'd get like wedding people and stuff like that. So having the nicer car was kind of cool, but I had to turn to it because I wasn't prepared, because that job was so much of income for me. Probably almost half of my income just cut right there. And when you got kids, and you're freelancer and you're really counting on it, and just you really weren't let known in advance, and you just boom, you're gone. That was a tough pill to swallow. So just kind of had to refocus, figure things out. I always wanted to get into surf announcing because surfing has always been one of my number one sports that I've loved and done since I was a little kid. And you know, same with skateboarding, same with my snow sports, with snowboarding and riding bikes too as well. I mean, BMX when I was a kid, but I always wanted to get into surfing. And when that happened to me, when I say doors closed, another one opens, then I started pursuing how to get into surfing. And there was a woman who's hired me for all these Olympic jobs that I've done. Out of the 6 Olympics that I've done, I think she's hired me for every single one of them, just about, or at least 5 of them. And so I'm talking to her because I realized that the Pan American Games coming up in Lima, Peru, we're going to have surfing there. Now, she knew I was a surfer, but I didn't do very many surfing events. I did some local ones back at my house here in La Conchita, just local stuff. But I never got to do anything big like all the other sports I was doing, like all the snowboarding, and all the skateboarding and the BMX and the mountain bike and all the stuff I was doing. Like I wasn't doing it on that big of a level. But I was really trying to break in. So I used that opportunity. One door closed, the other one opened. I worked my way into getting to do that event in Lima, Peru for surfing. It was an Olympic qualifier, one of the first ones for Tokyo. And I used that to meet the ISA, the International Surfing Federation or Association, International Surfing Association, the ISA, to meet the contacts there. They got to see me in action, announcing on the mics, doing some surfing. They're, oh, this guy can do surfing. That's great. So they brought me in. And then now that has taken over the summertime. So that kind of fills my summer announcing. I do ISA surfing in the summertime and in early winter. And then I go strictly into snowboarding, free skiing, and winter events all winter long. So that changed. And I was able after 1 year to get out of the Uber vehicle. As a passenger, yeah, no worries. But as a driver,